we may be on the wrong side of your agenda, so listen, out of respect, thank you for the last 50 years, but we are now going to value oil in other currencies. Bang! That fast. Every country on the planet has had to stockpile them to buy energy. And not just UAE. Russia and Iran have said the exact same thing. No more dollars for oil. What if the rest of OPEC says it? The dumping of dollars globally creates a religious experience in this country that people are not prepared for and have no idea that it's coming. You have hyperinflation at our doorstep. And as that happens, the byproduct would have to be interest rates that spike to the moon to compensate for the inflation, which is Klaus Schwab's moment, the Great Reset, the collapse of stocks, bonds, real estate, the dollar, and the banking system, just like that.
Today, we're diving into a big deal that's not getting much attention: the BRICS alliance. This group of countries, including Brazil, Russia, China, South Africa, and India, is pushing back against the Western world in a way we've never seen before. Even though the media isn't talking about it much, it's something we need to pay attention to, because it could change how the world works. Join us as we uncover the story behind the scenes and explore what this means for all of us. So, let's watch the full video of Andy Schectman.
And this is a growing trend. One of the things that we saw that is very alarming. Now, I've talked a lot about Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia and all of the OPEC countries are on the Chinese Belt Road Initiative. Made a very big deal of that. A good number of the countries are in the BRICS alliance as well, or are applying to the BRICS alliance when you talk about the OPEC countries. But Saudi Arabia joined not only BRICS and was formally admitted here January 1st, part of the Belt Road Initiative along with every other OPEC country. They applied to the BRICS New Development Bank last year, big deal. They applied to the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, big deal. That's the largest regional financial and military group in the world. And they told folks at Davos a year ago, not the one we just saw here a few days ago, but a year ago, that yeah, we're open to taking other currencies for oil. And 20% of all the world's oil was sold in other currencies last year. But what we saw with the United Arab Emirates just about 2 weeks ago was massive. Now, and I think, this is all part of the question, who is BRICS and what are they up to? But it's one thing for me to talk about Saudi Arabia doing all of these things, and I guess it's really important to understand that what makes the dollar the world reserve currency. It is the protection of the Saudi kingdom, and by extension, their agreement to value globally oil in dollars and take the proceeds and recycle them into treasuries. Well, the day after we left Afghanistan in 2022, Russia and Saudi Arabia signed a military agreement, a joint military agreement. That opened the door. Big things started to change, and then you get all of the countries on the Belt Road, the BRICS, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, the New Development Bank. That's all very provocative. What United Arab Emirates did is much bigger. And 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, there was a United Nations summit in Dubai, in UAE, presided over by the chairman of the state-owned oil company of United Arab Emirates. There were 200 countries and delegates from around the world in the United Arab Emirates. 3 days before they all got there, United Arab Emirates makes the declaration, and here again, to your question, where's the Western media? We will no longer take dollars for oil. MSN had one article, the only one I could find. We will no longer they are the 7th largest producer of oil in the world. They are an OPEC member. They were just admitted to BRICS alongside Saudi Arabia. Now, the whole thesis comes down to one thing, and that is, what if all of OPEC says, we're no longer going to take dollars for oil? Because look, you guys signed an executive order to go green. We respect that. Biden did that right away. And you know what? We don't like how you've weaponized the dollar against Russia and Iran, 2 of the BRICS members. Because we may be on the wrong side of your agenda, so listen, out of respect, thank you for the last 50 years, but we are now going to value oil in other currencies. Bang! That fast. That synthetic demand that has been created for the dollar has meant that every country on the planet has had to stockpile them to buy energy. If this happens, and not just UAE, Russia and Iran have said the exact same thing, no more dollars for oil. What if the rest of OPEC says it? Which I expect they will at some point. The dumping of dollars globally creates a religious experience in this country that people are not prepared for and have no idea that it's coming. Because if every country on the planet sheds dollars, you have hyperinflation at our doorstep. And as that happens, the byproduct would have to be interest rates that spike to the moon to compensate for the inflation, which is Klaus Schwab's moment, the Great Reset, the collapse of stocks, bonds, real estate, the dollar, and the banking system, just like that. Now we can talk about, if you'd like, why would they do that, but to me, this Brics deal is a whole lot bigger than we are being told. It's a whole lot bigger than just groups pushing back against the Western hegemony.
Yeah.
It's about resetting the whole system because the dollar, the petrodollar, is at the center of all of these problems. Are we going to see all sorts of events leading up to this? There's 200 meetings in Russia between now and October, 200 Brics meetings. What does that have in store for us? So as far as that side is concerned, a lot to watch. And when we look at what's happening here, in the States, I am concerned. I'm very concerned because for the first time, and as a father, more so as a businessman, I'm concerned. We have tremendous divisiveness in the United States, where red and blue can't talk to each other anymore, where 1/3 of the country believes the elections are not fair. We have record debt, record credit card debt, record mortgage debt, record student debt. We have the lowest level of savings ever, whereby right now 65% of the country is living paycheck to paycheck, 45% of the country earning over 6 figures, paycheck to paycheck. We are not united anymore. We have lawlessness in our cities. We have open borders where 10 million people have entered illegally. We have a situation where the judicial system is being questioned by a majority of the people in this country, no matter what side of the aisle you're on.
Yeah, true.
And so when you talk about the problems with the dollar and the mismanagement and the weaponizing, if our country was united the way we were for the last 100 years, if we were a united country, if we were not divided, if we had respect for authority, if we didn't have open borders, if we had a judicial system that the world envied, and Lady Liberty with the blindfold holding the scales of justice, that to me is really what concerns me, because in essence what we are witnessing is a cultural war or cultural whitewashing. At the same time, we are on the verge of a big economic problem. Economic problems with cultural problems become very dangerous, and I am concerned. I am very concerned that one way or the other you have half of the country that's going to be very upset about the outcome of the election and whether or not it was conducted fairly, which only exacerbates all of the other issues. So I wish my message was one of more optimism, but I think there's a fine line between pessimism and realism, and I think there's this fear that's permeating. Yes, there's opportunity to be found, but there's concern that is permeating. Even if people can't articulate it, you can feel it. You can almost cut it with a knife. And I think this might be the most interesting year of my life anyway. There's a Chinese curse, may you live in interesting times. And I, as ironic as that is, really do believe that this will be a very, very interesting time leading up to the October Brics meeting, which could be groundbreaking, and only a month later the elections, which will shape the future of the world very, very quickly, one way or the other. So what if I'm a central bank or a commercial bank or a sovereign wealth fund and I have 500 million in my margin account?
Right.
Well, that allows me to control 15 billion of notional contracts. And so in silver right now, as an example, there are 1,500% more paper contracts than there are bars backing it. In other words, there's 15 times more paper than there is bars. And so if everyone stood for delivery, 14 of them get cash settled. This is exactly what the Hunt brothers noticed in 1980. So what I'm getting to is that the smart crowd, the central banks, the sovereign wealth funds, the family, they're gobbling it up, using this suppression against us. And they always front run, they're always in front. I would say the probability of gold and silver outperforming, India imported 400 million ounces of silver over the last 2 years. That's double what's on COMEX. So when you talk about how high will it go and when will it go, I don't know when it will go, but you can see that the biggest, smartest money in the world is positioning themselves before it happens. And we will wake up on a Monday morning and bang, the price will be so much higher for whatever reason. And it's just the Western market being rendered a scam, a manipulated scam. And you will see the price setting mechanism at some point shift eastward to the Shanghai exchange, to the Dubai exchange, to the Moscow exchange, where the countries who are accumulating it all and producing it all and valuing it the real way are no longer beholden to a system that is rehypothecated, that is suppressed by a handful of commercial banks for less than, let's just say, less than pure reason. And So I don't know when it happens, but I will tell you in my belief it goes higher than anyone thinks possible.
Let us not forget the profound implications of what we've discovered. The whispers of change echoing from the corridors of power are not to be ignored. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more thought-provoking insights from Andy Schectman. Goodbye for now, and may the winds of change guide us to a brighter tomorrow. Thank you.